Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, we have quite a few questions for you today. Not a massive amount, so it might be a short, sharp, sweet episode for you today. But before we jump into those questions, don't forget, help somebody start Kendo. Like, share, subscribe. That helps YouTube promote these videos. It might promote it to somebody that hasn't done Kendo, has never even heard of Kendo. Maybe they like sword fighting or Star Wars or something, I don't know. And they get recommended this, and then they decide to start Kendo, and that's thanks to you. You've helped someone start Kendo, so do that, okay? And don't forget as well, keep the camera rolling, keep the lights on by shopping at KendoStar.com. That's my website. Provides amazing, fantastic, brilliant Kendo equipment. Of course, I would say that check out our reviews. We're the best rated online, like by far. I'm pretty sure someone in your dojo is using us anyway. Probably most of the people in your dojo at this point. Pretty sure we're the leading brand at this stage internationally anyway. So get to KendoStar.com. Right, let's get to these questions. Okay, first one. Shinai or Bodo? Which of them resembles the actual katana more? Well, I mean, I think, you know, the obvious answer to that is the Bodo. The Bodo is the wooden sword that we use for kata. The Shinai is the bamboo representation of a sword that we use for striking practice, which we obviously use a lot more often in Kendo. But we do use a Bodo for kata practice. And that definitely does look a lot more like a Japanese sword. It's shaped like one. It has a similar size to one. Obviously, they're a standard size where Japanese swords would probably be sort of sized based on the individual. At least that's what I understand from my very, very cursory knowledge of Iaido. Whereas a Shinai, of course, is made of 4 split pieces of bamboo. It's straight. It's longer usually than a Japanese sword because it's not designed to be a direct replacement for one. So, yeah, that's probably the answer there. The way we use them both is slightly different as well. We don't use the Shinai in exactly the same way we would use a Bodo. The way we use the tenuchi, the way we actually make the strikes is slightly different. So yeah, there you go. Hi, could it be possible for you to explain to us a little bit the changes in regulation in regard to Shinai sizes and weights announced by the EKF for the EKC 2022? What should we look for, etc.? Okay, so that's a really good question. Essentially, the EKF is the European Kendo Federation, and the EKC 2022 is the European Kendo Championships that's scheduled to happen in May in Frankfurt. In terms of they just sort of released the rules for the tournament. And there's mention of new Shinai regulations. I'm not sure if they're new to this tournament. I'm pretty sure they were in the last one as well. And I know that they were, well, I don't know for a fact, but I heard that they were sort of in place at the last World Championships too. They are standard in Japan now. Essentially, right, we've got the referee book. I'll grab it right now. Oof, okay, I'm back. So, basically, I think we all know this referee book here. The latest version of it was published in 2017. You can get this on KendoStar, of course. And it's got the regulations for the Shinai in it. However, see if I can find the right page. There is the diagram and all that. It's got all your regulations for the Shinai in it. Yeah, I see they're being blown out by the lights in here, but you can see it's got the Shinai regulations there. However, it was about I think it was 2018, so like a year after they put this out, they actually released a new one in Japanese that is newer than this one, and it hasn't made it into English just yet. The only real difference is that Shinai regulations difference, and what it is it's on the very back page here. I'm not sure you can see, but essentially, all right. Let's just break it down. I've got one of my Shinai here. This is a Gordy Shinai. It's a basic practice Shinai that I use for Ichikomi and Kirikaishi and stuff like that. What you used to do is they used to just measure. It's about how they measure essentially the end of the Shinai. Okay, so the weights and everything have remained the same. But what they used to do is they used to measure the size of the sakigawa, okay, this leather part on the end. It couldn't be too thin because, of course, that would be dangerous, okay? So you would measure the diameter of it across there, like that. I'll show you in a second properly. And you'd measure the length of it, okay? So you would measure straight across the widest part, like that, okay? They've got a machine that does it. Like they've got a machine that you just put the Shinai on, and it either fits in or it doesn't. If it doesn't fit in, then it passes. So the male adult male diameter of the sakigawa has to be 26 millimeters, and it has to be more than 50 millimeters. In length, okay? So this one, for example, like I say, you'd measure across there like that. I said 26, right? Well, this one's like 29, okay? Almost 29. And then you'd measure the length, and it has to be more than 50 millimeters in length. Which, I mean, they all are, you know. The ones that are commercially available. This one's like 55. Yeah, so that was the regulations up to recently. Then they added this new one here, okay, and essentially what it is you have to measure what they call the chikuto. The chikuto is 8 centimeters from the tip, and then you have to measure across the bamboo section at the sort of narrowest point, like that, okay. And it's let me see if I can get the page where it actually says the regulation of what that has to be. It's all in Japanese, unfortunately, because like I say, they haven't put out an English one yet. But essentially, for an adult male, they still measure the size of the sakigawa, and then they also measure this chikuto section, and it has to be at least 21 millimeters. It's measured by 8 centimeters from the tip downwards, and then across the bamboo like that. So if I measure down like this, 8 centimeters, it's about there. Where are we? It's about there, okay. And then I have to measure across what they call the chikutoben there, which is essentially, this is like almost 22 millimeters. All right, so we're I'm holding that upside down. It's almost 22, so this is fine, okay. This is in. All right, nearly all commercially available Shinai are fine for this these days. What it is, they brought this in because there were Shinai that were being produced both in Japan and in other countries in Asia, shall we say, that were really quite extreme in shape. They had a really big door section by the hands, and then they go to a very, 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 very thin tip. So it's very extreme shape like this, and then they just put a big fat sakigawa on it so it passed the Shinai check. So to get around that, you actually have to measure the actual bamboo section as well. Okay, so this is kind of the standard thing now. It's quite easy at the Shinai checks on the day. Basically, they'll have like I say, there's a machine. It's not a machine. I say a machine. It's like a rack sort of thing. You just pop the Shinai down on it, and if it falls into the gap, that means it's too small. Basically, and basically that's it. The weights and everything are all the same. They haven't changed the weights. It's still the same. It's just that one area where you now have to measure across there. Like I say, if you've got one of these things, it's handy, but I mean, like I say, unless you're buying Shinai that are really, really extreme in shape, then probably you're going to be okay. Okay, and that's it. Okay, next one. In some kendo competitions, especially in events like the Keisatsu Taikais, I've seen some kendoka perform Ashibarai. Is this actually permitted in kendo competitions? If not, why would it seem that they be permitted to do it in some Japanese Taikai? So, Keisatsu Taikai is Keisatsu means police. Taikai is tournament. So what you're talking about is a police tournament, and Ashibarai is a foot sweep. Okay, so using your feet to kick out and sweep the legs of the opponent. It's not allowed. No, it's not allowed in any shiai except for the police tournaments. The police tournaments are an exception to that, where you are allowed to do Ashibarai. Because it's a police tournament. I guess it's because it's, kendo is kind of done by the police under the sort of idea that it's part of their, I guess, training for use in their job. So, it is a little bit more hardcore. You don't see it an awful lot, though, even if it is done. You'll find that it's not often done. So because you don't score any points for doing it, you don't get any benefit from it. You just might create the chance to strike, because of course if they fall over you can still hit them. I can think of one example of a famous player doing that in a police tournament. But otherwise, you hardly ever see it. Sometimes it's just to kind of, the police tournaments, they get really quite rough. There's sort of reasons behind that, which I don't really want to go into, but there are reasons behind it. I mean, that's part of it, I guess. But yeah, in general, no, you're not allowed to do Ashibarai or foot sweeps. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to, essentially, you're not allowed to touch your opponent for the most part, other than with your Shinai. It's usually okay if your kote touch together, of course, if you bump into them a little bit, but if you try to sweep at their feet, or if you put your hands on them, that's hansoku. So a little side point, a little segue, or should we say, there is that one thing that a lot of people don't know is that putting your hand on your opponent is hansoku, and you see it quite a lot. Somebody, especially in sort of friendly shiai or between people that know each other or something like that. One might attack kote, miss and hit them on the elbow, and then touch their elbow and say, "Oh, sorry," sort of thing, even though it's the middle of the shiai. That's actually hansoku to do that. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, so yeah, bear that in mind. Next one. Tsuki, would it be poor form to use this technique in line at the grocery store to maintain social distancing against those who continually violate it? Yeah, I think that's pretty bad form. I get your feeling. I get I get where you're coming from with it, but don't carry a Shinai around and ski people in the shops. Give Kendo a bad name. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, I have a lot of trouble with men kaiserman against shorter partners. I'm 6'10", which is 2 meters, 2.08 meters, and it always seems as though as soon as they are in range to strike my men, I'm way too close to strike theirs. Any help will be appreciated. Yeah. So look, men kaiserman is a difficult waza anyway, even against people the same height as you or shorter than you. So it is a difficult technique. Look, the fact of the matter is not every single waza works for every single opponent. Men kaiserman is when you receive the men on sort of this side of the shinai, and then you bring it round to strike on the opposite side, like kote kaiserman. And it's just a super difficult technique anyway, because lots of people, when they strike, their arms are coming up a little bit anyway, so it's hard to get that route to the men. I wouldn't worry about it all that much, to be honest. In that, like I say, it's not the sort of waza that, well, it's not just that. I mean, not like I say, not every waza is useful in every situation. Okay, so if somebody's shorter, like for me, if somebody's a lot shorter than me, I'm not going to be like looking to pop out nukido, men nukido or something like that. I'm probably more likely to look at waza like men suriage men. Or kote kaeshi men, aigote men, these sort of waza, rather than waza that sort of target the door or the kote. It's just a bit harder for me to get at them, to be honest. So yeah, don't worry too much if you can't really make the men kaiserman on the shorter people. Maybe think about a different waza, men studiage men, for example, devana men, degote. These sort of waza are probably going to be much more useful to you than men kaiserman. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that one. Next one. Hi Andy, any tips for doing Fumikomi consecutively one after the other? I feel as though I'm not fast enough or not doing it properly. Is there a way you could show what it looks like? Mainly when I'm trying to do kote men, I'm trying to get that space and equally power for both, thanks. Okay, so I can't obviously show you right now, I don't have the space. I'll definitely look into it though. I have got more sort of instructional videos coming up soon. We're going to be filming some in the coming months, so maybe I'll look at something like Renzoku Waza in that case. But look, the main thing that people struggle with Renzoku Waza, especially for doing Fumikomi, is the correct balance of the weight. Most people, that especially in the beginning, they don't put quite enough of their weight on the left leg, so that they can't. When they do the first Fumikomi, their weight's too far forward, so they're not able to do a second one. And secondly, the left leg has to come up quickly after that first right foot goes down. Okay, it has to go together, not 1, 2. They have to go together. Yeah, bam, bam, this way. So yeah, bear that in mind as well. So lots of tame, that means power, stored up in your left leg, your left calf, weight. Somewhat, I'd say probably even 70-30 on your left leg, and when you strike the kote, left leg comes straight up behind your right leg, and bam for the men strike as well. You must do Fumikomi for both. So it's really about, like I say, weight distribution and hikitsukeashi. That's the pulling up of the left leg behind the right one. Okay, that's what you need to concentrate on. You can fix it not just in your practice of kote men, you can fix it in your suburi as well. If you focus on making sure that you are able to do even with suriashi. Yeah, don't practice your suriashi as 1, 2, 1, 2. Practice as 1, 1, 1, 1 this way. Okay, so think about making sure that left leg comes straight up behind the right one. Okay, last one. Like I say, not too many questions today. Hey Andy, I've been extremely busy and I've missed some Kendo rants, so hopefully I got a good one for you today. I was wondering what are the big differences about Kendo before and after the US occupation of Japan. Was wondering how it was taught and the fundamentals as are they way different in pre-World War II times? Was it a lot closer to like what the police championships look like now? To be honest, I've said this before on this channel. I'm not the person to ask on this. I am not a Kendo history expert. It's not my area of expertise. It's not an area I have a massive amount of, if I'm honest, massive amount of interest in. But I'm very much interested in modern Kendo and the future of modern Kendo. It's not that I don't care so much. It's just I'm not that super interested in it. And there's a lot of sort of conflicting information out there about it. One person says this, another says that, and another says this and that. I don't think it's massively like how the police championships are now. I don't think that's, the police championships do look quite rough and quite aggressive, but I don't think that's anything to do with pre-war or post-war or anything like that. Where I'm going to redirect you, you need to go and look at kenshi247.net. There's some amazing articles on there. George, who runs it, is one of my closest friends. He's my senpai, actually. And I really, really look up to and respect him. You can definitely learn a lot from him. He's an expert on the history of Kendo. He knows a lot about Kendo, Kenjutsu, the roots of Kendo, how Kendo interacts with Kenjutsu, and all that sort of thing. And there's some brilliant, well-researched, well-informed articles on kenshi247.net, so make sure you go and check that out, because I'm sure you'll find more answers about it there than I can give you. All right, so I can't answer that one because I don't want to say something that's not right, because I just don't know enough about it when I know there's experts out there who are better qualified than me to answer it. So yeah, kenshi247.net, go and check that out. That's it for today. just a short one, I know, but some great questions, though. I really liked some of those questions. It was good to talk about the regulations of the Shinai, right? I wouldn't panic over it, just to go back to that just before we finish, especially if you've got a little bit extra time. Don't panic over it. Don't go around measuring all your little Shinai and stuff like this. I don't think you need to worry about it for the most part. I'd only worry about it if you are... entering the really high level tournaments like the European Championships or the World Championships or something like that. Because I think that's the main place where they're going to measure it. It's come about because, like I say, there were some Shinai out there on the market that were really pushing the boundaries. Most of those have disappeared now, at least the ones that come out of Japan. We don't make any like that. So yeah, just don't panic over it too much, and I'm sure you'll be all fine and dandy. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.